On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack.
I just remember seeing that cover and thinking,
oh.
When they do that dumb shit going like, kids from the 80s, and they show us doing something, kids from now, and they show them on like fucking these electric scooters and shit. It's like, we would have been riding those things if they existed. I rode one of those things in Old Dad's. They were fucking amazing. I had such a good time on them. If I wasn't so paranoid about putting my information out there, I would get an app and I would fucking zip around on them. They're fun as shit. So anyway, and speaking of my generation, I stumbled upon an amazing documentary that just came out last month on Hulu. It's called Brats. And it was about the Brat Pack in the 1980s, which is what this group of young actors were branded by one writer for like New York Magazine or something like that.
It was just some writer's silly imagination or label that he could sort of stamp on this young group of actors that he didn't have any other explanation for.
It was condescending, and I don't think anybody had thought of all you wonderful actors in that way until he coined that phrase. And
it was produced and directed and all done by Andrew McCarthy, who was one of the actors that got branded that. And I never realized what they had gone through, and I also never realized that, they were sort of the first generation of actors where there was like Hollywood started making movies about young people from young people's perspective, so they needed young actors.
An incredible time to be 22, 23 right now, and to be a young actor, because the films are catering to us.
But right now, it's great. Movies are being made about my age people. That's the audience that's going.
They had done stuff. There was like teen idols and stuff like that, but it wasn't to the level, and it also wasn't done as well, because John Hughes, the way he was able to write in the teenage voice, and I guess from watching that documentary, one of the actors was saying that he was open to like improv or whatever.
I like the fact that he was very collaborative. Yeah. He invited you into the process. What do you think? I've never had a director say, "What do you think?"
Go ahead, improv till you hear the sound of the film like slapping around in the canister, and it's just sort of, we ran out of film.
Whatever, you should really check it out if you're from my generation or if you're younger and you're interested in it. It was this amazing thing where it was just this young group of actors. They were making movies. They were like 21, 22 years old. They were at the top of the industry, and they just were having one hit after another. And then one of them got interviewed, and the interviewer, who really seemed like he was envious and jealous of him, even though he was only a little bit older, he was like 29 years old, and he saw these kids 21, 22 years old, and they were like movie stars, and women wanted to be with them, and as he mentioned, they didn't have to stand in line. And I just think he came from this envious place.
Emilio did that thing where he got the cheaper ticket, and I don't know, just start listing all the things. They said that thing about Tim Hunt. No, they're brats. It's funny.
It's really wild because in the end of the documentary, Andrew actually interviews the guy that really torpedoed all of them and just lumped them all into one thing and just made it seem like they didn't care about acting and they were just these spoiled fucking brats, and they weren't. What it really was, it really had nothing to do with them. When I watched the interview, I kind of, I'm obviously biased here being a performer because, a lot of the times you find when people write negative stuff about you, you have to be man enough to be like, all right, that wasn't my best performance, or maybe that wasn't the greatest movie or something. You got to be able to take those hits, which I like to think that I do. But then a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. It really just has to do with the writer, their political agenda, maybe something that you said that got into their feelings, or maybe they just fucking, I don't know, they just don't fucking like you. And that's kind of the vibe that I got from this guy, that he was really envious of them.
A lot of people were coming around the table, and especially, no surprise, Rob Lowe was getting a lot of the special attention, but everybody was. I was getting the least attention of all, you know.
And he was 29 when he wrote it. So I just feel like this guy was looking at them going like, wow, these guys are, men and women are 21, 22. They got the whole thing ahead of them. And he really just came from an envious place. So when Andrew goes to interview him in the end, he used this, you know, the guy stood by what he wrote. I don't want to ruin it for you, but like, I just wanted to talk about this one thing. As he's sitting across one of the people that he really hurt, he just sort of emotionlessly, like, if that's even a word, passed it off as collateral damage.
But do you think you could have been nicer? Seriously.
I mean, it's collateral damage, in my view, to making the point.
And I thought that was like the perfect term for someone in his position, because he didn't view Andrew as a person, more as a thing. You know, that's that weird thing where when you get known, you stop being a person, you become like a thing. And people just, okay, what can I do with this thing that's going to elevate me? So his thing was to do basically a fucking hit piece and rip them down and like try to elevate himself by like, hey man, you know that group of actors that you're all enamored with? I'm over here saying I don't give a fuck about them. And it was really, at the end of the day, I felt the article was more about where a guy 29 years old in his career was and was starting to settle into his life and who he was going to be. And I don't think he necessarily liked it. And then he went down one night. You know, if you don't like your life, I don't think you want to hang out with Rob Lowe in 1985. I don't think that's going to make you feel better about your life. But it was really an amazing documentary. And I'm hoping that all the actors that are in it and everything realize like what they meant to my generation and the high esteem that we still hold them in. So if you want to check it out, it's really cool. And it was really done well. And, you know, it was funny. I went on Hulu and I saw that St. Elmo's Fire was on there. I was like, fuck, I haven't seen that movie since it came out. So I put it on, and of course my kids were being loud, so I had to shut it off. And when I shut it off, I saw this documentary. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And it totally lives up to the hype. So check it out if you get a chance over there on Hulu.
Fucking Breakfast Club, where all these stupid kids actually show up for detention. Fucking Weird Science, where this babe wants to take her gear off and get down, but oh no, she don't, because it's a PG movie. And then Pretty in Pink, which I can't even watch with this tubby bitch anymore.
I know she got a man, but I'm showing her a good time. Can't stop the crook.